My dear friend, if you are listening to this message today, it is not by accident. There is something stirring in your spirit, something that refuses to settle for the struggle, the burden, the constant pressure of barely making it. That stirring is divine. That whisper in your heart is not your imagination. It is a call from God Himself. You see, when God is about to do something miraculous in your life, especially something as life-changing as a financial breakthrough, He first shakes the foundation of everything that is not built on faith. If your world has been shaking lately, if your finances seem like dry bones in a desert, then rejoice, because that's the exact condition God chooses to turn into overflow. God is about to release a financial miracle, and if you're ready to receive it, your life will never be the same. There is no shortage with God. God does not run out. God does not operate in limitations. The same God who created the heavens and the earth is the God who washes over your life. He knows the weight you carry. He knows the bills that stack up like a mountain. He knows the tears you cry when no one is watching. You've tried, you've pushed, you've stretched every dollar, but now God is stepping in, not because you begged long enough, but because your faith has stirred heaven. God is not moved by emotion. God is moved by faith. And when you dare to believe that God can do the impossible, you unlock something powerful. And you may be saying, but I don't see a way out. That's exactly where miracles are born. Where man sees no way, God creates a highway. The very areas where you've suffered lack will become the very areas where God shows His glory. Don't you know that God loves to bless His faithful servants? God honors those who walk uprightly. When you keep walking in integrity, when you continue to sow goodness even in scarcity, when you resist bitterness while walking through lack, God takes notice. God is not blind to your sacrifice. God is not deaf to your cry. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are being prepared for the release. The world may try to tell you to rely on your credit score, your connections, your job security, but God is your source, not your boss, not your clients, not the government. When God decides to bless you financially, nothing on earth can stop it. No debt collector can reverse it. No delay can deny it. God has already seen what's coming, and He has already appointed your provision. The question is not whether God can bless you. The question is whether your faith can handle it. Some of you have been operating in survival mode for so long that you've stopped expecting breakthrough. You've adjusted to the wilderness. But hear this, God did not call you to survive forever. He called you to prosper under His hand. There is something about financial hardship that tests the soul. It humbles, it stretches, it exposes what we truly believe about God, and yet it also prepares us. God never sends a miracle to a heart that isn't ready to carry it with gratitude and responsibility. That's why the season of lack is not punishment, it's preparation. God allows the famine before the rain not to crush you, but to train you. When you remain faithful in the dry season, when you praise God even when your pockets are empty, when you choose to give even when it hurts, then heaven begins to open. God sees you holding on when everything in the natural tells you to quit. And that kind of faith, raw, relentless, unshaken faith, moves the hand of God. Right now, even as you hear these words, things are shifting in the unseen. You can't always see what God is doing, but trust that He is working. Behind the curtain of your struggle, God is organizing divine appointments. He is opening doors no man can shut. He is speaking your name in rooms you haven't even entered. He is softening the hearts of people who will bless you without even knowing why. God is commanding resources to find you. He is ordering favor to chase you down. He is causing opportunities to be magnetically drawn to you. But you must believe it, not with a faint hope, but with fierce certainty. Your breakthrough is not in the hands of man. It is in the hands of God. And let me tell you something powerful. God does not release miracles based on your bank account. God releases miracles based on your belief account. If you're bankrupt in faith, you'll never cash in on the blessing. But if your heart is overflowing with expectation, if you wake up every morning declaring that God is your provider, then your miracle is on the way. Faith is the currency of heaven. When you stop speaking defeat, when you stop rehearsing your lack, and start declaring God's abundance, everything begins to change. Don't wait for the miracle to manifest to start praising. Praise in advance. Thank God like it's already done. Worship Him like the debt is already canceled. Lift your hands like the check has already been written. God is not a liar. When He says He will supply all your needs, He means every single one. Not just enough to get by, but more than enough. Enough to pay your bills, enough to support your family, enough to give generously, enough to fund dreams, enough to bless others. God's abundance is not about greed, it's about impact. When God blesses you financially, it's not just to elevate your lifestyle, it's to elevate your purpose. You've been asking for a provision, but God is preparing you for a position of influence, a position of stewardship, a position of overflow where your blessing becomes a blessing to others. Now hear this, the miracle God is about to release will come in a way you did not expect. It may not arrive through your job. It may not show up through a promotion. It might not even come through someone you know. God loves to surprise His people. The blessing may come through a stranger, through a sudden idea, through an unexpected gift, through a business you haven't even started yet. Don't limit the way God can move. Don't try to predict the form of your miracle. Just prepare your heart to receive. Keep your spirit open. Keep your hands lifted. Keep your words aligned with faith. There is a wind of change blowing in your direction. What once was closed is about to be opened. What once was delayed is about to be released. What once felt cursed is about to be reversed. But you must do your part. Guard your tongue. Speak life. Refuse to entertain fear. Speak what you believe, not what you see. Speak the promise, not the problem. Declare that God is making a way even when your bank app says zero. Declare that God is multiplying what little you have. Because when God steps into your situation, little becomes more than enough. God is not releasing a financial miracle just to rescue you. He is releasing it to position you. You are not meant to live paycheck to paycheck. You are not meant to just get by. You are not meant to be crushed by the weight of debt. You are meant to rise. You are meant to overflow. You are meant to be the lender, not the borrower. That is not a fantasy. It is the promise of God. But you must stop settling for less. You must stop settling for less. Stop adjusting to struggle as your identity. Poverty is not your portion. Scarcity is not your destiny. You belong to God, and where God dwells, lack cannot remain. Some of you have been faithful in giving, in serving, in sacrificing. You've sown in tears. You've sown in silence. You've given when no one else saw. And now God is about to reward you openly. There's a public blessing coming for your private obedience. Don't give up now. Don't walk away from your harvest just because the clouds haven't broken yet. The rain is coming. The heavens are about to pour. And when God opens the windows of heaven, what comes down will overflow in such a way that you won't have room to contain it. You have to give some away. You'll have to share the miracle because it will be too big for you alone. You don't have to manipulate, beg, or chase after people to be blessed. You only have to chase after God. When you pursue God with all your heart, everything else will begin to chase you. The money, the resources, the opportunities, they will follow you, not because you're seeking them, but because you're seeking the one who owns them. God owns it all, every bank, every business, every treasure, every door. And if He owns it, He can release it. He can release it suddenly. He can release it miraculously. He can release it abundantly. And He will if you keep the faith. There's no need to envy anyone. There's no need to compare your journey to someone else's. What God has for you is tailor-made. You don't have to compete. You don't have to copy. You don't have to compromise. Just be faithful. Just stay obedient. Just keep honoring God in the little, and the much will come. The financial miracle you need is not far off. It is closer than you think. But your words must align. Your heart must believe. Your actions must reflect your expectation. The enemy wants you to stay in despair. He wants you to believe that things will never change. He wants you to believe that you'll always be behind. But the devil is a liar. God's word is truth. And the truth says that God will open his good treasure and bless all the work of your hands. The truth says you are the head and not the tail. The truth says you shall lack nothing. But you must stand on that truth. You must declare it even when your reality looks the opposite. That's where faith lives, in the tension between the promise and the problem. Don't despise the small beginnings, the small salary, the struggling business, the tight budget, because when God breathes on it, it multiplies. He fed thousands with 5 loaves and 2 fish, not because the supply was great, but because the surrender was. God doesn't need a lot to do a lot. He just needs your faith. He just needs your willingness to believe when everything says impossible. Miracles are not birthed in comfort. They are born in chaos. They are released in times of desperation. So if you're in the middle of a financial storm, you're in the perfect position for a financial miracle. Let others laugh. Let others doubt. Let others walk away. But you stay rooted in belief. Stay anchored in trust. Because when the miracle manifests, everyone will know it was God. No one else will get the credit. No one else will be able to claim responsibility. It will be undeniable that the hand of God touched your finances. And when it happens, don't keep it to yourself. Testify. Encourage others. Be a vessel. Use what God gives you to lift someone else. Because the real purpose of the financial miracle is not just comfort, it's kingdom impact. God blesses you so you can bless. God provides so you can pour. God gives so you can give. If you could only see what God has already prepared for you, your heart would leap with praise right now. If your eyes could pierce the veil of the unseen, you would not be anxious another day of your life. God is not a distant observer of your hardship. He is the master architect of your comeback. The very hands that shaped the mountains and filled the oceans are the same hands that are now reaching into your life to shift, supply, and restore. God does not simply repair what's broken. He replaces it with something far greater. You've been asking God for a way to survive, but God is planning a way for you to thrive. There are seasons when God withholds just to show you that He's the source, not the supply. When the paycheck fails, when the support dries up, when the plans collapse, that is when you learn to depend not on man, not on systems, but on the voice and provision of God alone. And those who depend on God will never be ashamed. Those who trust in His plan, though it tarries, will see it flourish in due time. Delay is not denial, it is divine refinement. God is not late, God is never behind. He waits until the soil of your life is ready to carry the weight of the harvest. You may be surrounded by chaos, but chaos is no match for the decree of God. When He speaks, doors swing open. When He commands, resources relocate. When He decides, nothing can resist His will. And right now, God is speaking into the dry places of your life. Where there was lack, there shall be provision. Where there was debt, there shall be release. Where there was despair, there shall be dancing. God is about to turn mourning into movement, poverty into purpose, emptiness into overflow. But the miracle will begin not in your wallet, it will begin in your heart. The heart that believes God for the impossible will never settle for the ordinary. You were not made to crawl through life begging for scraps. You are made to walk upright in honor, carrying the light of faith in a dark and doubting world. You are created to reflect the abundance of God, not just in words, but in your life, your choices, your giving, and your joy. And God takes pleasure in blessing those who live with clean hands and a pure heart. You don't have to manipulate to prosper. You don't have to compromise to gain. When your integrity remains intact, God will elevate you without the help of man. The financial miracle you've been praying for will not come by copying what others do. It will come by walking faithfully in what God has asked you to do. Maybe it's time to build what God whispered to you years ago. Maybe it's time to release that idea, that skill, that vision He placed within you. God never gives a dream without placing provision somewhere along the path. But provision always responds to obedience. The quicker you obey, the faster the doors begin to open. It's not enough to believe for a miracle. You must walk toward it. You must act in faith even when the natural circumstances argue against it. Every act of obedience is a seed. Every step of trust is a step toward the miraculous. And when the ground is saturated with your surrender, the harvest cannot be delayed. God is not just sending you money, He is sending you transformation. He is changing how you think about wealth, how you handle increase, how you trust in the unseen over the visible. Because if your mind is still in bondage, your hands cannot hold a blessing. You must be transformed internally before you can carry the weight of the miracle externally. God is not just preparing the blessing for you, He is preparing you for the blessing. Do not confuse your current location with your final destination. Just because you're walking through a dry land does not mean you will stay there. This is a crossing over moment. The pressure, the stretching, the stripping, it is all part of your passage. God is leading you out of captivity and into freedom, not just spiritual freedom, but financial freedom. But it begins with alignment. Are your values aligned with God's principles? Can God trust you with increase? Can you steward overflow without becoming arrogant, without forgetting who lifted you, without hoarding what was meant to be shared? The miracle is not just about you. It's about who will be blessed through you. There are people connected to your obedience. There are families that will eat because you chose to walk in faith. There are communities that will rise because you refuse to quit. God is making you into a vessel, not a container. You are not meant to store blessings, you are meant to pour them. And the more you pour, the more He will fill. As long as you keep your hands open, God will keep the flow running. The moment you start clenching what He gave, the stream slows. Because the goal is not just provision, it's participation in God's purpose. Do not be surprised when the miracle looks small in the beginning. A financial breakthrough often begins as a whisper, a nudge, a tiny door. Do not despise the day of small things. What begins as a trickle will soon become a flood. What starts with one opportunity will lead to many. What looks like just enough will stretch into more than enough when God is in it. But will you honor the small? Will you steward the seed before you demand the fruit? Because God watches how you handle the seed before He releases the harvest. Now is the time to prepare, not just to wish. Prepare for the breakthrough. Clean up your habits. Organize your finances. Pay what you owe. Walk in integrity with the little you have, and God will trust you with the greater. You cannot walk into a miracle with old mindsets. You cannot carry new blessings with dirty hands. The miracle is holy. It must be received with reverence. If God is about to release wealth, then He is also about to test your heart. He will test your patience. He will test your motives. He will test your priorities. And once He sees your heart as pure, the gates of heaven will open. Some of you have cried at night over unpaid bills, over business losses, over broken financial dreams, but God has bottled every tear. And those tears are not wasted. They are watering the very ground where your breakthrough will spring up. Every prayer you whispered when no one else listened, God heard it. Every seed you gave when you barely had enough for yourself, God saw it. Every time you chose to trust instead of panic, God recorded it. And when God remembers, He does not just repay, He restores. He restores time, He restores health, He restores hope, and He restores wealth. This is not about chasing material things. Do not take that lightly. The enemy has tried to convince you that what you have is all you'll ever have. But the devil is a liar. God is the author of increase, and not just increase in number, but increase in influence, in wisdom, in reach, in purpose. One touch from God and everything can change. One word from God and the floodgates open. But that word must be received with faith, not filtered through fear. Do not reduce God's promise to fit your experience. Stretch your expectation to match His power. God has never been limited by your past. His supply is not measured by your income. His generosity is not based on what's in your hand, but on what's in His. You may not see it yet, but heaven is already aligning the pieces. God is not working on your timeline. He's working on your transformation. If you had received the blessing earlier, you may not have been ready. But now, after the trials, after the pruning, after the lonely nights and painful prayers, now your spirit is ripe for reward. You've been refined by fire. You've been taught by silence. You've been humbled by hardship. And now you are prepared not just to receive the miracle, but to protect it, preserve it, and multiply it for God's glory. So keep your hands clean, keep your motives pure, keep your lips speaking truth, because this miracle is not for show, it's for sanctification. It is to prove, not to others, but to you, that God has always been faithful. Even in delay, even in the dry season, even in the hidden places, God was preparing you for what He's about to release. And when it comes, it will not be subtle. It will not be small. It will not be something that can be explained by talent or timing. It will be the kind of miracle that makes people stand back and say, surely this was the doing of God. Let your faith rise higher than your fears. Let your praise echo louder than your complaints. God is not finished. You may have felt like your time has passed, your opportunity slipped away, your door was closed. But God does not operate by man's clock. He restores lost years. He reopens forgotten doors. He revives dead dreams. And when He chooses to move, He doesn't need permission. He overrides the rule. He bends the systems. He shifts entire structures just to deliver what belongs to His faithful one. You've been sowing in faith. Now it's time to reap in joy. But don't just wait, worship. Don't just look, listen. God may not shout, but He always speaks. In quiet whispers, in nudges of wisdom, in divine insight, He will guide you to the place of breakthrough. Follow Him, not your feelings. Move with obedience, not impulse. Stay rooted in faith, and nothing will be able to uproot the blessing once it arrives. And when it arrives, and it will arrive, don't reduce it to money. See the miracle for what it truly is, evidence of God's hand on your life, confirmation that your labor was not in vain, proof that the silent prayers you whispered in your weakest moments reached the throne of the Almighty. God heard you, God saw you, God remembered you, and now God is about to reward you, not because of how loud you prayed, but because of how deeply you believed. So walk like it's already done. Live like the breakthrough has already been released. Speak as though the harvest is already in your hands. Because when your behavior matches your belief, you attract the blessing. This is not manipulation. This is alignment. God honors faith that acts. He rewards hearts that move with expectancy. The ones who prepare the room before the guest arrives, those are the ones who will see the door swing open wide. You are not begging God, you are standing in His promise. You are not pleading for crumbs. You are claiming what has already been written. Your miracle was crafted before you were born. The provision was planted before you ever had the need. And now the time has come. The pressure you've endured has birthed the capacity you need. The breaking you went through has prepared the blessing you're about to receive. The valley has carved out a deeper place for the river of God's abundance to flow. So open your hands, open your heart, open your mouth, and declare it boldly. God is my source, and I will not lack. God is my provider, and I will not fear. God is my sustainer, and I will not break. What God has started, He will finish. What God has promised, He will deliver. What God has spoken, He will bring to pass. And now, stand firm. Expect with holy boldness. Worship with unwavering confidence, because the miracle is not coming, it's already in motion. God is about to release a financial miracle that will rewrite your story, reshape your future, and reintroduce you to the world as one favored by the hand of the Almighty. There comes a moment in every life where the walls close in, when the pressure becomes unbearable, when the weight of debt, delay, and disappointment crushes every ounce of strength. And in that moment, God whispers, "Now watch what I will do." God doesn't just show up when it's easy. God shows up when it's impossible, when the experts have counted you out, when the numbers don't add up, when the door has been shut for so long it's rusted at the hinges. That is where God steps in and makes a way through the wilderness. Not by might, not by human effort, but by divine intervention. Some of you have been relying on your own hands for too long. You've been stretching, struggling, overworking, exhausting every method known to man. But now God is calling you to surrender. Not your work ethic, but your worry. Not your diligence, but your dependence. God doesn't bless chaos, He blesses order. And the greatest order you can establish in your life is putting God first in your heart, first in your finances, and first in your plan. When you do that, you don't have to chase the miracle, it chases you. You don't have to hunt it down, it will locate you by divine design. This is not the time to panic. This is the time to posture yourself in expectation. The financial miracle you need is not locked behind 1,000 keys. It is sitting just on the other side of your obedience. God responds to faith, not fear. God honors sacrifice, not selfishness. God multiplies what is placed in His hands, not what is clutched tightly in ours. That's why the enemy attacks your giving, your generosity, your mindset, because he knows the open hand is the hand God fills. And if he can get you to close your hand in fear, he can block the flow. But you are not called to live closed. You are not called to shrink. You are not called to operate in fear. You are a child of purpose, a soul born for divine overflow, a vessel chosen for impact. God has not forgotten what you've endured, the nights you laid awake, worrying over how to pay the next bill, the days you put on a brave face while carrying the burden of lack, the sacrifices you made silently, the giving you did secretly. God saw it all, and every seed you sowed, every prayer you lifted, every tear you wept in trust. It has built a case in heaven, and now the time has come for God to respond. Do not expect this miracle to look like man's methods. When God provides, He often bypasses the expected. He breaks the rules of natural economics. He doesn't operate in hourly wages, He operates in heavenly waves. One moment of God's favor is worth more than 10 years of labor. One divine idea can wipe out a lifetime of debt. One open door from God can bring such swift acceleration that even your enemies will stand in awe. But you must prepare your life for that kind of release. Examine your stewardship. Have you honored what you already have? Have you been faithful with little so God can trust you with much? Have you resisted the temptation to compare your journey with others? Because the miracle God is preparing for you is not copied, it's custom. It's not left over, it's design. Your path may look different, but the promise remains. God will supply. God will restore. God will enlarge. But your eyes must remain on Him. Not on the clock, not on the crowd, not on the crisis. Many people miss the miracle because they grow weary in the waiting. They start strong, but they fizzle when time tests their trust. But the reward is not for the one who starts with passion. It is for the one who endures with faith. The financial miracle God is about to release is not just for the sprinting. It's for the steadfast, those who refuse to complain, those who didn't cave in to fear, those who kept honoring God when the cupboards were empty and the bank account spoke of scarcity. God is about to reward the unseen resilience. Let your heart be lifted today. Let your spirit be revived, because you are not abandoned. You are not overlooked. God is not ignoring your needs. He is organizing your increase. Even now, divine connections are forming. Even now, resources are shifting hands. Even now, God is assigning angels to bring breakthrough into your atmosphere. You don't have to see it to believe it. You just have to believe it until you see it. And when the miracle comes, and it will come, it will break every generational barrier. It will shatter every label of lack placed upon your name. You will no longer be known as the one who almost made it, but as the one God favored in the face of the impossible. Your story will not end in survival. It will rise in significance. The struggle was not in vain. The delay was not denial. It was preparation. And now, God is about to pour into your life so abundantly that it will overflow into others. You will not only pay off what's owed, you will fund what is needed. You will support the dreams of others. You will become the answer to someone else's prayer. This is how God moves, not just to bless you, but to transform you, to turn the borrower into the lender, to turn the overlooked into the overflowed, to take the hidden and raise them to a place of honor. But you must never forget the journey. Never forget who carried you. Never forget that every good thing comes from God. When the wealth arrives, let your worship grow louder. When the breakthrough appears, let your humility go deep. When the blessing expands, let your hands become more generous. Because what God is doing in your life is not a moment, it's a mantle. And with that mantle comes responsibility to use the resources wisely, to pour into the lives of others, to bless with purpose, to give with discernment, to remain dependent on God no matter how much He gives. That is how the miracle stays. Not just for a season, but for a lifetime. Lift your head, raise your expectations, align your actions, and declare with boldness, God is faithful. God is near. God is releasing my miracle. I will walk in it. I will honor it. I will multiply it. And I will glorify God through it. Because this is not the end. This is the unveiling of a new chapter.